Before I came here to Scotland, I worked mainly in a deaf theatre group in Singapore. There's a great tradition of mime in Singapore, but few other forms of theatre. So when I came here, I was deeply influenced by the amount and quality of physical theatre that is produced in the UK, which was such a different form. I felt this was a very positive transition for me because the culture of mime in Asia and the culture of physical theatre in Europe are two different worlds, and I was influenced by both of them and able to embody both forms in my work. It's about finding ways to communicate with each other that don't rely on specific languages or being able to hear or being deaf, so using bouffon, masks and animation, finding a way to work together is the key. We don't use sign language in these pieces, and the performers don't know any sign language, so we do that work together to find a shared communication so that we can then connect with an audience. Madame Butterfly is a famous opera, and it dealt with loss, so that was such a feature of the piece that I wanted to find a way to capture it, but by using the element of fantasy. The image of the butterfly peppers this piece, and the butterfly as a symbol is such an interesting one to work with. They symbolise beauty and fragility, and so there's this very strong character of butterfly in the piece. Butterfly is independent and autonomous until a man enters her life. He's drawn to her because of her beauty, but it's his treatment of her that creates a change in her character. She begins to weaken and become vulnerable, and we, the audience, are witness to that process. The character of Butterfly in this piece is a woman in a very emotional place in her life. She's going through a breakdown with multiple losses. She loses her partner first, and she loses her child, which is incredibly traumatic for her. The question for me was how the audience would be able to understand her world and that massive emotions she's experiencing. The child that Butterfly loses has to be absolutely real to her, but not to the audience. And it came to me that using puppets would be a way to represent that. I worked with Gavin Glover to create the puppets for the piece, and he is such a great puppeteer and maker. He truly understands the way puppets work and the role they play, so we spent a lot of time together developing and exploring and working out various aspects of that role, because the puppet of the child is central to the whole story, and that had to be very strong. The parallel process I was in was writing a script, but a visually based script, which I had never done before. It wasn't about writing a script with dialogue, etc., but creating a text that captured all the visual motifs and elements I had been thinking about. Creating a new format that would serve as a visual script for the cast. I worked very closely with George, who was a tremendous help as a dramaturg. At no point did it feel like he was taking control of the story, but instead offered questions and suggestions that meant I felt very free in the process. He gave me such freedom to create this piece. I worked closely with Darren Brownlee, who choreographed the piece and supported the actors. And it was really about all of us working together to gradually tighten and hone what it was we were doing. I really felt that I had the right people, and we slowly found a shared visual language, which was incredibly important. That blending of talent and collaboration is such an essential element of the piece.